KXLY4 News presents In Their Shoes, brought to you by Avista.
They say there are two sides to every story, but when it comes to some issues, there are many more than just two. You've heard the phrase, Seattle is dying. But what about Spokane? The Spokane community is at odds, trying to figure out how to handle what seems to be a growing number of people living on our streets. I'm Aaron Luna. Over the next half hour, we're going to be digging into this issue from all sides.
I'm Robin Nance, along with Derek Dice. KXLY4 News is shining a light on this issue, asking you to walk in their shoes.
The homeless, the first responders, the charities who work every day to try to solve a seemingly unsolvable problem.
And sometimes understanding an issue just comes down to seeing things in a different way.
Whether they're homeless because of their own choices or something out of their control, you're likely to see their faces as you drive around. And many people we spoke with agree it's an issue, and it's about to be a major issue in the race for who will replace David Condon as Spokane's next mayor. The first step is simply understanding the issue. Who is homeless in our city and why?
1,309. That's the number of people without a home in Spokane, according to the Point in Time study. So often we see homeless people in our community, perhaps under a bridge or on the sidewalk. But we never know what their story is, where they go at night, or how they got to where they are today. The Point in Time study helps answer those questions. 1,309 homeless people in Spokane were interviewed. This is the second year in a row Spokane has seen a decrease in chronically homeless people, and more families have found a place to live. So have veterans, 27% since 2017. The city says there are more resources available for veterans than there are that need them. However, the bad news, some categories increased in numbers, including minors and young adults. Volunteers also asked all 1,309 homeless people why they don't have a home. Family conflict was the number one answer. What came next? Lack of income and the loss of job. Other reasons include mental health, domestic violence, and some said they don't know. Each one of these answers is to help city leaders create a strategy to lower the numbers across the board, in hopes that next year's survey won't show a homeless population of 1,309.
There are people in our community who are homeless tonight and have been homeless for years. How does it happen and why?
We spoke with one man who says he can't escape his past, and that's kept him on the streets for 10 years. This is Joseph Sampson, who I went to school with at one point. He's used to calling the streets home. Joseph is one of nearly 250 people who were chronically homeless in 2018. About 20% of all homeless people in Spokane last year were considered chronically homeless. Tonight, he tells us what it's like to spend so much of your life without a place to call your own.
For a long portion of his life, homelessness has been all Joseph Sampson knows.
It's been about 10 years off and on, more homeless than anything.
With frigid temperatures and more snow on the way, a friend is giving Joseph a temporary place to sleep.
When the weather got kind of like this, started getting colder and stuff, I got a message from her on Facebook, kind of bawling me out for not coming and knocking at the door and asking to stay at her place.
But when the temperatures climb, Joseph will be back on the street looking for a place to stay each night. Joseph likes to hang out at places with Wi-Fi since that is his only form of communication. Today, it's My Fresh Basket, where he told me his story.
When it comes down to finding like a place to live, my criminal background follows me around a lot.
He says the biggest charge there, a felony drug conviction in 2005.
It's just something, that keeps following me to this day, and I kind of have to deal with.
He says, like many others, it stops him from being able to find stable housing. So they're forced to live on the streets, looking for work. But Joseph says even looking for work is hard when your main goal each day is survive.
From the moment that you wake up, your sole purpose is to survive the day. And sometimes you are so caught up in the things that you have to do to survive, like go into certain places at certain times to eat and stuff like that, that it's kind of hard to find the time to go out and progress in your life.
And not everyone does survive.
It's hard to lose anybody, but to homelessness, it's even harder, you know.
But Joseph says until he can find a place to live with his criminal record, he'll continue to be on the streets, and so will others. In the meantime, he says the city is on the right track to helping the homeless, but more needs to be done.
More shelter space is definitely needed. A storage type facility is definitely needed for people out here. And these warming centers.
Joseph told us he wants to see compassion from the community for the homeless. And even if you categorize all homeless people as drug addicts or criminals, addicts and criminals are still humans.
While most of us were making our morning coffee, there were people bringing breakfast and blankets to homeless camps and shelters across Spokane. Just like you have your morning routine, this is theirs, and no one pays them to do it. They are part of our community conversation too. We hope it opens your eyes to different opinions and solutions to homelessness. In their view, the people on the streets are friends who need and deserve help.
Socks? Is there a sweater left?
Now that it's so cold, everybody's coming in, the homeless population, the people that slept in their cars before, the people that were out in different places, they're all coming into the warming center, so our numbers are huge. We're feeding 300 people a night instead of 100 or 150.
Thank you.
We see these guys every day, they're our friends.
If I need blankets or boots or something, she'll bring them to me, so.
We know where they are and we know how to find them. So we hunt them down and make sure they have everything they need. We start here and then we go, there's some camps for people who won't come here. We bring them water, we bring them soup. They can warm the soup up on their fire.
You want some sandwiches?
Growing up, my dad was one of these people, and both my parents struggled with addiction issues, and I know that, the simplest little changes in the way my life could have gone could have ended me up here. Keeping them warm and fed is what we can do as community members. These are 12s too.
12s?
Yeah.
They're cold, they're hungry.
These ones are way heavy duty.
They're tired. We need to help them.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. It's not just their problem, this is our problem, and we need to figure out solutions for these guys to have safe places to live, and it will solve problems for everybody, business owners and the city, and if we could just get them places to live or stay.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
And as a community, this is where we start to change the world, is we start at home.
It's not just single men and women living on the streets. Sometimes it's entire families. Listen to one mother talk about her struggle toward a new life, one that includes a roof over her children's heads.
He tried to strangle me to death while he raped me with the kids in the room next door.
Patty Harris says she was trapped in an abusive relationship